Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and I was wrong. In this video, I will be telling you why I was wrong, why the $10 dream is most likely over for XRP, why the crypto market could potentially be going into a bear market. So this is not a video I wanted to make, but it's a video I have to make. So let's get straight into it. Let me tell you what I was wrong about, what I'm doing, and how to continue to navigate the markets together. For my very own newsletter, the news around the world is the crypto market is in a bear market. Crypto bull turns bear. 2025 gains wiped out in sudden reversal. All of the gains of this year, the year of the bull market, for most altcoins have been wiped out. Thankfully, for Bitcoin, it might have been wiped out, but for XRP, it's one of the best performing tokens of this year. So we did get it right with our token. We bought XRP at 30 cents. It's currently near $2. That is a great return for 1 year plus. However, are we going to get to $10 this year? My thoughts are no. I don't think we will hit our $10 target. Will we hit it this bull market? We're on the verge of not being in this bull market anymore. We are experts are now saying we're in a bear market for crypto. The more we look at the charts, the more we see this downtrend continue, the more we're below these moving averages, the clearer it's becoming that maybe we have to face the reality that we are in a bear market. Now, does that mean go out, sell, panic? No, it doesn't. I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'll tell you exactly what not to do. Remember, I never give financial advice. I don't tell you to buy, sell, or hold. I just give you my thoughts and opinions and go with the news. So I'm not selling. I am still. What profits have I taken this cycle? Well, I told you when I took my profits, $3.40. I took my initial position out, I think, and then throughout the trades of $2 to $3 every single time we did trades there. So I took my initial position out, but I'm very much 80% plus still invested in XRP, and I'm not selling. And I'll tell you why I'm not selling, but that might not be right for you. So the bear market does seem to be upon us. The crypto market record-breaking run has come full circle. After touching 4.4 trillion market cap in early October, digital assets have surrendered nearly all of its 2025 year-to-date gains in less than 5 weeks. Bitcoin, which has peaked at nearly 126,000 amidst institutional inflows and regulatory optimism, has fallen 20%. We have had that 20% dip. What is that 20% dip? Well, that's sort of a universal sort of measure to say if we're in a bear market or not. We go over to the Bitcoin's chart, and what you're seeing here is quite a heavy sell-off. We've gone from 122, 126,000 all the way down to 99,000. We've had a over 20% correction now in Bitcoin. In the stock market, that would 100% be called a bear market. In the crypto market, we can't be certain if this is a bear market because we've had dips like this before last cycle. Even in this cycle, when we've had multiple 20-30% corrections as well. So that's not the only reason I think we're in a bear market because of this 20% dip. That's not the only reason we are in a bear market, or why I'm saying we can potentially be in a bear market because of this 20% dip. Remember, the main thing I was wrong about, and I don't mind admitting to it, me and Martyn were quite confident, or we weren't 100% confident. We said if there's going to be $10 at some point, it would have been when we had this major breakout in July. And I said $10 XRP this year. I was over 50% confident. Martyn said $10 within a week as well, or 10 days or 3 days. I don't remember what he said, but Martyn was also very confident about XRP hitting $10. You can go back, watch the videos, but that didn't happen. So the $10 prediction was wrong. But what were we right about? And does that change anything that we were wrong? We were right. We bought XRP at 30 cents. Go back to our videos 2 years ago, 30 cents, 40 cents. Every time it dipped below 40 cents, we were buying XRP. We were right about the lawsuit. We were right that XRP was going to be the only cryptocurrency that has that regulatory clarity. We were right about that. We were right that in November of 2024, go back to December of 2024, when I said, this is the time I'm turning Bitcoin into altcoins. Altcoins had the biggest pop ever. We were right about the 50% correction at $3.40. Remember when we hit $3.40 for the first time, I said it's a matter of when, not if. We were right about that. We had that 50% correction. We were right about catching the bottom at $1.70. We bought at under $2. We sold back at $2.62. We bought back at $2. And then we went on to that massive breakout. Remember that breakout that we saw, and that could have taken us to $10. That was the breakout of the $2 support, the breakout of this downtrend above the moving averages. We broke $2.30 and we went to all-time highs. We went to all-time highs, and that was where me and Martyn said $10 in potentially 7 days. And it didn't come. If there was ever going to be a time, in my opinion, it was at that time, because the momentum was with us. And since then, the ETFs got pushed back because of the US shutdown. The sentiment faded away. The US tech bubble grew larger, and it made it harder and harder for XRP to continue to move to the upside. So that all-time high of $3.40 that we created sort of could be the peak of this cycle. We are now sat at $2.16. We can talk about, are we in a bear market? Are we not in a bear market? What was we right about? What were we wrong about? Being wrong about $10 isn't something that I really care about, to be honest, because we made so much money throughout the cycle and we're still at $2 and we bought at 30 cents. I mean, if you tell a financial advisor or a hedge fund manager that your portfolio is up 330% in a year and crypto's down this much, they will give you a nice handshake. Not many cryptos are up, or if any, I don't think any cryptos are up 330% since this time last year, and XRP is. This time last year, XRP was at 50 cents. This time last year, XRP was at 50 cents. Today, we're sat at $2. Congratulations to all XRP holders. So we can talk about, is it going to go up? All the things we're right about, all of the things we're wrong about, but let's go into the future and think about how to stay on top, because I have not lost out because I didn't sell all my position. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is because I'm confident in my investment. So headlines are now going to be all over the place. They are going to be there to scare you. They're going to be telling you there's a bear market. They're going to be telling you there's volatility. They're going to make you panic sell. In my opinion, panic selling is one of the worst things you can do. If I didn't believe in my coins, if I was holding something like Binky Bonk coin and then there was all of these headlines, I'd probably be panic selling, because why the hell am I holding Binky Bonk coin? If I'm holding XRP, which I think is going to revolutionize the payments world, and not even just the payments world now, what Ripple's doing with XRP and the XRP ledger, I mean, we've covered it for the last 2 days, it's made me even more bullish. So I'm confident in my investment. I'm not going to be panic selling. I'm not going to let these headlines scare me. And let me go over to why we can potentially be in a bear market and what I'm doing. So a bear market isn't just a 20% drop. So a lot of people are bringing this headline out now because we've had Bitcoin drop 20% from its heights. That's not the measure of a bear market a crypto run. Maybe in a less volatile asset class like the stock market, yes, 20% drop could be that bear market you want. But in a crypto market, a 20% drop alone isn't that. Prices fall, confidence evaporates, and liquidity drives up. That's what a bear market is. When everyone starts panic selling, the confidence moves away, and then there's no money to be pumping up the markets. We've seen Bitcoin roll over from its 126,000 peak and break key trend levels. We're now below 100,000. I said I will declare a bear market if Bitcoin stays below 100,000 for 2 weeks. We are now under 100,000. Maybe today, on Sunday, it will be our first weekly candle close below it. So I'm not officially declaring a bear market on today's show, but I'm saying we are very, very close. Remember, I've been 50-50 for a while now. I'm telling you that for me, 50-50 means I'm still invested. And right now, I'm not coming on and declaring a bear market, but I'm saying a lot of things are now be prepared for a bear market. The $10 prediction I gave you by the end of the year as a potential. Remember, my targets were always $4, $5, $7. Then the peak is $10. Is not looking likely for this year. It's not looking likely for this year. This is what I'm announcing. Today's video is $10 for XRP is not looking at all likely for this year. There is a chance that the bull market continues and in 2026 we do get that $10. But that hope is fading as well with what's going on in the market. So When you see prices below long-term averages, liquidity thinning, and perhaps a telling silence in the media, you're entering a stealth phase of a bear market. Fewer headlines, fewer retail inflows, and a sense that crypto's gone quiet are classic symptoms. The hype disappears before panic does. Remember, crypto bull markets are run on retail hype. If you have just tuned in, please do hit that like button. We'll always be honest with you. Smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll come to your questions in a second. So what does a crypto bull market really mean? Traditional bull markets are a 20% decline from the highs. In crypto, where volatility is magnified, that's only part of the story. The more reliable definition involves a regime change when Bitcoin trades substantially below its 200-day moving average and fails to reclaim it. That level acts as a key dividing line before bull markets and bear markets. So if we go over to Bitcoin's chart and have a look at the 200-day moving average, here we go. We put the bull market support band on. Thanks to Benjamin Can for creating this, even though it's just a couple moving averages, but it makes it very easily to visually have a look at. You see these two lines on this chart now. Let me see if I can just remove drawings and just make it very simple. These moving averages on the chart on your screen. Above it, you can be very confident in a bull market. Below it, you get a bit more worried. So here is the bear market of 2021. You were above it, you got below it, you tested it as resistance, and then you followed it all the way down until you got back above it in January of 2023 at 20,000, and then you never really went below it. You tested it as support a few times. Right now, we are deviating quite heavily for those moving averages. We could have one final push up, test it as resistance, and then come back down. But right now, we are below those moving averages. Let me remove those drawings again for a second. You can have a look at it on just the 200-day moving average as well. If you look at that line there, we are below the 200-day moving average. Yes, we've been below it a few times. Have we deviated this much? This bull market? Not really. We'll keep an eye on it. If we have a few candles below this moving average and the momentum continues to be to the downside and we make a lower low, maybe going below 90,000, then the bear market is very much confirmed for Bitcoin. So you can see this trend over here below the moving averages. You're in a bear market, just like you tested it back in April of 2022. You went from about 50,000 all the way down to 16,000. You got back above it, and then we went on to the bull market. Is this the point where we're breaking to a bear market? One of the indicators is saying potentially yes. So one of the indicators is saying we're below it. Are we going to fail to reclaim it? If we reclaim it in the next week or two, we're fine. If we don't, bear market is becoming more and more likely. We can never 100% call a bear market. If anyone's going to tell you 100% we're going to $10 this year, or 100% we're going to $100 this year, or 100% we're in a bear market, they're wrong. No one can 100% tell anything. Otherwise, everyone would be billionaires. Historically, crypto bear phases have cut the total market cap by 70 to 80% from its peak. So if we are going into a bear market, be prepared for it. And the main purpose of this video, and I promise you this is the main purpose of this video, is to get you to watch so you can be prepared either way. I would love for there to be a bull market. I'm prepared for a bull market. I'm prepared to go back into a bull market. I'm prepared for the 200 daily moving average to reclaim. I'm prepared for it to go up to $10, $5. I'm prepared for Bitcoin to make new all-time highs. I am absolutely prepared for that scenario. And I would love for that to happen, and I'd love to come back and watch this video and go, wow, we were nearly calling a bear market, but how everything changed. I'm prepared for a bull market. I'm also prepared to go sideways, and I'm prepared for a bear market. You should be the same. Please, please, please. The point of this video is not to make a prediction and make you guys make a prediction so you guys follow me or get scared or do something because of this video. The point of this video is so you guys are prepared. I don't want you to not be prepared for all scenarios. I'm going to tell you how I'm prepared for all of those scenarios in this video as well. So the point of this video is to open your eyes from all the other YouTubers that are constantly telling you $10, $100, XRP is the best asset in the world, therefore it doesn't undergo volatility. This is about the whole crypto market at this point of this video. The point of this video is not to just give you hopium, it's to tell you the reality so you can be prepared for each scenario. I'm not coming out here to change my views on anything I've ever said. I stand by everything I've ever said. We've been right 99% of the time. Everything that mattered, we were right about. We were right about when to buy it when we bought XRP at 30 cents. We were right about the 50% correction. We were right about every time it hit $2. What we weren't right about was, one, if you actually go watch the videos about the $10 prediction, what did I say? I said, if there was a time to go to $10, it would be this momentum run because of this massive breakout. We could hit $10 in 7 days if the momentum continues. The momentum didn't continue. We didn't hit $10. That's what I was wrong about. That's what Martyn also suggested, and that's the only part we were wrong about. That's not something significant. Go watch other channels and see how much they've been wrong. How much were they wrong about ETFs? How much were they wrong about price predictions? Where do they think XRP will go to the end of this year? They were calling $100, $1,000. So anyway, the point of this video is to make sure you're prepared for all scenarios. How are you prepared for all scenarios? So first, let's tell you some of the early warning signs of a bear market, so you know why we could be potentially in an early warning signs of a bear market. We might look back at this in 4 or 5 months' time and say, okay, this was the beginning of the bear market, or we might look back at it in 4 or 5 months saying, wow, what a recovery. We were nearly in a bear market. Trend breakdown, that's why we need to be prepared for both scenarios. Trend breakdown. When Bitcoin and Ethereum break down below their 200-day moving average, they have. They've done it. They're below it. Are they going to regain it? Well, we don't know, but right now they are below it. The leverage reset. Sharp declines in open interest, collapsing funding yields, and liquidation spikes show traders de-risking masses. Have we had a massive deleveraging event? Well, go back a few Fridays ago. We had XRP go down to $1.50, $1 on some exchanges, 88 cents on some exchanges. We had altcoins crash 80% on a Friday. We've had a worry in the liquidation market. Liquidity thinning, there doesn't seem to be as much money in the system. That is correct. Macro pressures, are we having rising US yields? Are we having people worried about their risk appetite? Well, yes. Look at the last month. What's happened? Well, we've had a mini banking crisis. What do I mean by that? Well, we covered some earnings, and there was a regional bank that had 50 million in fraud. 50 million. That's nothing at all. Nothing in the financial world. Banks around the world crashed 5%. On that day, banks crashed 5% based off because they thought there was going to be an issue with banks going bust. Why did they crash 5% on a day around the world? Well, it was because they saw a headline, they got scared, they sold, they de-risked and asked questions later. They de-risked and asked questions later. What does that show to you? Well, follow the money. If they're de-risking based off nothing, that means they're scared. The big money, the hedge funds are scared. Any reason to sell, they're selling right now. And why is that happening? Well, because we've been telling you about how the markets are overvalued. We've been telling you about this AI boom that we're in right now that is bringing us to the 2000.com crash levels of excitement. So if the markets right now are acting risk off, and every chance they get about any bad headline, such as 100% the Chinese tariff, remember that caused a liquidation spike on crypto and caused that 3-4% correction on the S&P 500 a few weeks ago. Any reason they sell off first, and then they ask questions and buy back later. So the reason they're selling off first is because they are very scared to be in the market. So any small thing they are selling. Imagine one big thing comes out in the market. Well, everyone's going to be selling. Sentiment vanishes. If everyone stops being bullish about crypto, then the sentiment goes and the retail doesn't come in. So, what do you do in the bear market? Well, you favor the top coins. You don't go into Binky Bonk. You don't go into number 600 in the market cap. You don't go into random coins under top 10. I mean, in a bear market, you should really only be in the top 5. But let's say in a bear market, again, not financial advice, but the coins that are lower market caps that don't have any backing, they're the ones that are going to go down 99%, 98%, 95%, 90+%. The Bitcoin might go down 60, 70%, maybe 50% this time. Ethereum might go down 60, 70%. XRP might go down 60, 70%. Solana might go down 85%. Litecoin might go down 80%. Filecoin might go down 90%. The lower down you get a market up, the lower down they can go in a bear market. So in a bear market, just like last time, what was I in? Bitcoin and XRP. Bitcoin because that is the least risky coin out there, and money stays in Bitcoin. XRP because I never want to be out of XRP because I love what it does. So in every major downturn, Bitcoin is the relative winner. Who wins in a bear market? Bitcoin wins in a bear market. It still goes down, but the money flows into bear market. into Bitcoin in a bear market. It's the most liquid, institutional, integrated, and widely collateralized digital asset. When fear rises and capital seeks safety, and in crypto, safety means Bitcoin. Please do hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Historically, Bitcoin dominance rises sharply in bear markets, and traders out of Bitcoin dominance rises sharply in bear markets as traders rotate out of speculative coins into the reserve asset of the ecosystem. People get scared, they move their coins into a Bitcoin, or their altcoins go down so much, but the institutional money is still in Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin holds up well, and it's the least risky asset in crypto. Holding Bitcoin for a bear market can still mean large drawdowns, sometimes 60-70%, but that's preferable than many altcoins falling down 90 to 99%, and sometimes they never recover. Remember, there's many coins in 2021 that have never recovered this cycle. Many coins in 2017 that never recovered in 2021. And it's not Bitcoin, it's not Ethereum, it's not really the top 5 coins. It's normally anything under top 5, anything under top 10. They don't reach new heights. If you do want exposure beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'd say stick to the top 5 assets. For me, it's Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. If I was going to buy any other coins, I'll make sure that in the top 5, top 10. And in the bear market, those are the coins I'll be buying. If I find good deals in the bear market, I'll be buying the top 5, top 10 assets. I wouldn't be looking any further. Or if I am looking further, it'll be over a tiny part of my portfolio. They benefit from deeper liquidity, stronger network effects, and institutional coverage. While you still might face heavy drawdowns, these coins have historically survived and led the recovery cycle. Being too far down the list, by contrast, means betting on projects that simply don't make it to the next bull market phase. So how do you survive? I want you to survive a bear market. I'm not calling that we're going into bear market 100%. I'm bringing this video to you to suggest to you that there is many indicators now pointing that a bear market might be the reality we are facing. And if there is a bear market and that is the reality we're facing, how do you survive it? Define your risk horizon. Before you act, decide what kind of investor you are. Who are you? What type of investor are you? What's your risk tolerance? Why are you in the crypto market? What are you trying to gain out of it? Why are you investing in crypto? If you're trading short term, protect your capital. If you're trading short term, well, good luck to you. You're probably going to lose because short term traders are going to always, especially with crypto, because how volatile it is, 95% of the time, 99% of the time, if you're leverage, you're going to get wiped out. So for my suggestion to you is protect your capital and be careful. If you're investing long term, are you going to accept the volatility? Are you ready for the volatility? Do you understand that crypto is a volatile asset? If so, then manage your exposure. How much volatility can you undergo? Are you prepared for an 80% crash? Even on XRP, are you prepared for an 80% crash? If you're not, then why are you investing in XRP? Revisit how much you've got invested in XRP in the crypto market. If you cannot undergo these cryptos potentially going to 0 or 80% down, then why are you in this? Because in a bear market, you're going to get wrecked. You might have never experienced the bear market before. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. Without clarity on your risk budget, it's easy to overtrade and panic sell at the wrong time. If you've got too much invested, you're probably going to panic sell at the bottom, or we're going to go down and you're not going to have any money to pay your bills. If you're, so this is for high risk investors because of the volatility and how far down we can go. So without clarity on your risk budget, it's easy to overtrade or panic sell at the wrong time. Number 2, core satellite structure. Keep your core money in the top coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, maybe Solana. Look at the top 10 coins, or potentially more likely like the top 5 coins, but the most liquid names, and only use well-defined satellite allocations for riskier players. This stops portfolio drawdowns from spiraling when small caps collapse. In a bear market, the small cap cryptos will collapse and they will go to virtually 0 in value most of the time. Some coins, there are exceptions, but most of the time not. For most people, look, my strategy isn't dollar cost averaging, but for most people, this will work. If you believe in a long-term adoption of these coins, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, then the dollar cost the DCA is still a valid approach. Yes, we've talked about how DCAing is maybe not the best approach. If you're investing in something like the stock market, just going all in at a good point is probably better. That's what the data shows you, or just going in as soon as you get that money, not dollar cost averaging. The data shows you're better off because you're invested for a long amount of time. But in crypto, if you still like dollar cost averaging, it still has great return. So in a bear market, you can dollar cost average. Yes, I'll probably be waiting for specific levels to buy, but I don't hate anyone that dollar cost averages in a bear market with crypto, especially if it's the top tokens. But you have to do it right. You can't buy. No, I mean, okay. Just make sure you have enough money for a 4-year bear market or a 4-year cycle to be able to buy the bottom. Committing a set amount at fixed intervals reduces the stress of timing and allows you to average down without reacting emotionally to every swing. Just ensure your time horizon supports it. Just remember, you need to have enough money to support the bear market. You can't just dollar cost average for 2 weeks and then you run out of money, because then what if it goes down another 80%? For me, is having predefined buy zones. I do not buy every 5-10% dip. And that's what I was telling you guys the other day when we went down to $2.10. Yes, we're not there yet, and we might not even go to $2, who knows. But the reason I wasn't buying is because I already bought a $1.60, $1.70 a few Fridays ago. If I buy every 5-10% dip, what if we go to 50 cents on XRP? I'll be so annoyed at myself that I bought so early and I didn't have any money to buy at the bottom. So for me, I'm not buying every 5-10% dip. I've got certain levels I'll buy: $2, $1.70, $1.50, $1.50. We hit those levels, my limit orders are there, slightly above each of them. For like $1.50, I'll be looking at $1.55 because of the psychological level. For 50 cents, I'll be looking at maybe 60 cents. Each of those levels, limit orders, that's where I'm buying. Predefined levels, I'll buy big at those levels. That's how you. So yeah, don't buy every 5-10% dip, because that's how you run out of capital before the real bottom. Map levels where valuation is on-chain data, true distress, technical analysis. Wait for confirmation, not emotion. Let the market come to you. Let the market come to you. Don't go to where the market is now. Secure your assets and reduce risk long-term. Bear markets expose weak links. Move long-term holdings to cold storage. Don't look for get-rich-quick schemes. Don't send your crypto anywhere. Don't fall for scams. People impersonate us. Don't send your money anyway. We never ask about your financial situation. Be careful, because scams go up in the bear market as well, because everyone is not making money and they want to find quick ways to make money. Use downturns to learn and build. Understand the market. Understand your investments. Learn from your mistakes you did this cycle. And don't do again. A bear market is not something to fear. It's something to recognize early and respect deeply. Every crypto cycle has 3 stages: disbelief, capitulation, and accumulation. We're likely transitioning between the first 2. Bitcoin breaking below its 200 moving average, a collapse in altcoin liquidity, and vanishing media coverage are classic hallmarks of that turn. Survival isn't predicting the bottom. It is not about predicting the bottom. No one can predict the bottom. It's about staying solvent and prepared for the next uptrend. Those who preserve liquidity, focus on high conviction assets, and keep learning will emerge ready to act if the sentiment flips again, long before the headlines catch up. So, let's round this up. Let me tell you my final thoughts. Please hit that like button. Please do understand I'm not doing this video to try and get clicks. I'm not doing this video because I'm flip-flopping around from saying I love XRP to I think it's going to go down to $1 or 50 cents. That is not the point of this video. I am not just changing my mind every day. I'm not getting things wrong. We get things right all the time on this channel. What I'm doing this video for is for you guys. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for the views. I'm not doing this so I can gain more exposure, or I don't know. This is not something for me. This is for you guys, because I want you to win. I care so much about this community and I hate for anyone to lose. We might be in a bear market. We might not be. We might be crashing 50-90% today over the next few months, or we might be going up 50, 100, 200%, and we might be hitting our targets. Today's video, I'm telling you, it's very unlikely we're going to hit $10 this year. Very unlikely we're going to hit $10 this year. And what I was wrong about is that one time that we had that big breakout, I said potentially we can hit $10 if the momentum continues in the next 7 days. The only thing I've been wrong about this whole cycle was that prediction, that potentially, and I said 50% chance, I said 50% chance that we'll go to $10 after that big breakout. That didn't happen. So this video is to tell you, firstly, what I was wrong about. Not really wrong about, but I'm happy to say, I'm coming out and telling you that $10 is not likely this year at all. So don't keep your hopes up for that. And secondly, if we're going into a bear market, I want you to win. I want everyone on this channel to win. I want the members to win. I want the subscribers to win. I want this channel to come out on top against every other channel. How do you come out on top? Face the reality. We might be in a bear market. Don't be blind to it. Don't think just because a technology is amazing, it's not. It's immune to markets. Bitcoin, we are looking at the technicals. We're not being blind to it. We're looking at it right now. I'm showing you on the screen what's going on. We're breaking the 200-day moving average. This will be the first weekly candle below the 200-day moving average since April of 2025. And it looks like a bad one. If we have a couple weekly candles below this, that is our first indicator that we're going into a bear market. Be prepared for a bear market. Why? Well, we've got the moving averages going down. We've got the S&P 500 looking like it might want to roll over. Last time we had, we're not at the moving averages for the S&P 500 at the moment. We're actually well above it. But even if the S&P 500 was going to go to these moving averages, very possible, 8% down, that'll be XRP at $1.70 if we have an 8% drop on the, at least $1.70 on XRP, just for the S&P 500 to come back to a normal level. Just a normal level. A very elevated, bullish, bull market, normal level, the S&P 500 actually drops 9%. If the S&P 500 drops 9%, Bitcoin is going to be below 90,000, XRP is going to be below $1.70, and that's just if the S&P 500 comes back to normal valuation. If I bring back my drawings, last time we drew something on, what's going on here? Last time, let me go to the S&P 500 chart, because last time we looked at the resistance level, we dropped 50% or like 40%. SPX, where was it? Was it on the daily chart? Let me have a quick look. S&P 500. So for the S&P 500, yeah, last time we saw the resistance at 6,000. It was a triple top at 6,000. That was our main level of resistance. We went into a 22% drop. This time, the resistance was around 7,000. We brought out the videos about why to be very concerned about this cycle, about the valuation of the S&P 500 at this level. We are already starting the sell-off. If we come back to a normal valuation of the S&P 500, just a normal valuation, still in a massively big uptrend, we're looking at a 10-11% drop. That won't really be a bear market for the S&P 500, but that could push XRP down to $1.50. So, come back to XRP's chart. Let's remove the drawings for a second. XRP has held up as one of the best assets, if not the best asset of 2025 for crypto. So we've got that right. If we're going into a bear market, understand we can drop 50, 60, 70, 80%. Understand we can go down to $1.70, $1.50, $1.50 on XRP. Understand Bitcoin can go down to $90, $50, $70,000. And be prepared for it. All I'm saying is be prepared for it. Can you survive that? Will you be liquidated? Can you pay your bills if we go down and sideways for 2 years? If the answer is no, then what you're probably going to do is panic sell at the very bottom, and you're going to lose out on your crypto and not be able to pay your bills. So prepare for it now. Also, I'm still fully prepared for this. Massive good news to come out of the White House. XRP is the strategic reserve. XRP is replace Swift in the next 2 years with 12% of the market cap by 2030, and we see real big evidence of that. Or the S&P 500 continues to go into the biggest run ever seen in the history of the stock market data because of AI, and AI revolutionizing the world. And the S&P 500 goes up 20% next year, and crypto blows up with it. I'm ready for that scenario because I'm still invested. But my plan is I'm fully invested in XRP. I'm not very interested in the below top 10 cryptocurrencies. I might have a little bit, 5-10% of my portfolio. If we go into a bear market, I will just buy more at my specific levels. I've told you I'm buying XRP. If we go into a bull market, I'll sell at my specific levels, $5, $7, $10, $12, 2030, I'm predicting $50. So I'm prepared for every scenario. The point of this video is to open your eyes, to take you away from just the hype and FOMO you see everywhere on X and YouTube, to tell you there is a real possibility we are in a bear market, the bear market started, and there could be more pain ahead. That's the point of today's video. I'm going to end this now. Morning Sensei, this is what happens when individuals think they become rich overnight. Wealth isn't built over time with a portfolio strategy based on your time horizon. Yeah, let me tell you one more thing. If you want to be rich, if you want to make money, if you want financial freedom, it's not about overnight wealth. That is not how you make money. It's not overnight. You might get lucky. If you win money fast, I promise you, you will lose it fast as well. If you make money overnight, you will lose it overnight and you will be in a worse way the next day because you don't have money to pay your taxes and you become immune to any sort of, you think money is easily made. And then you just go into a rabbit hole. Like most gamblers, the first time they go to a casino, they think it's easy. They make a lot of money and then for the next 20 years, they're addicted to gambling because they thought it was very easy to make money and now they're just chasing it to just break even once again. If you want to make money, if you want to be financially free, then you need a core portfolio. You need to be realistic. You need to have the time. You need to have a long time horizon, and you need to have a balanced portfolio. I am not your financial advisor, so I can't give you direct advice, but general advice is the younger you are, the more risks you take and the more risky portfolio you have. The older you are, the more you go into bonds and you protect that money. You have to protect that money for your retirement. So when I say risky, I'm not saying the younger you are, you go all in crypto. What I'm saying is you have your core portfolio. Everyone's core portfolio should be, in my opinion, again, not financial advice, good indexes, low cost indexes that grow over time. That is the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones, the World ETF, low cost. I don't really like active managed ETFs, but low cost, balanced ETFs, which you have that as your core portfolio. You have a bit of gold, you have a bit of silver, you have some bonds. You might want to pick one or two companies, but a very small amount. That's your core portfolio. And over time, that will compound and you'll make a lot of money. I mean, let me just show you, if I can just bring you a compound interest calculator and you blow your mind. And then you have that core portfolio. And for me, the other part of my portfolio is that risky part. I love crypto, so I put, because I'm younger, I put a larger amount than most people should into that secondary portfolio, which is that crypto, more high risk portfolio. So have that core portfolio, buy all the time, DCA, buy every time you get money. Over time, that will be your retirement and you'll make a lot of money. And how much money will you make? Well, let me find your compound interest calculator and show you how much money you'll make. And this is why this should be everyone. And this takes time in the market. You'll go through a few bear markets and bull cycles before you make a lot of money. But the more time you spend making money, the more likely you are to keep it. So let's say you start off with $10,000. Start off with $10,000. The S&P 500 has been giving you a 10% return. That is what the S&P 500 has been giving you on a year. And you're invested for 30 years. Initial investment $10,000, interest rate 10%. How much do you the deposits every month you put in $1,000? We can change this in a second, or let's say you make it more realistic, depending on who you are. Again, $500 a month. You start with 10,000. You just go in the S&P 500. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's over time, 30 years. How much money do you make? How do I press enter on this one? Calculate. In 30 years' time, you've made $1 billion. $1 million from $500 a month. If you have more time, 50 years' time, you've made $10 million. Let's say you start off with a $100,000 portfolio and you put in $1,000 a month and it's just in the S&P 500, just 10% a year. In 50 years, you've made 31 million. In 20 years, you've made 1 million. In 10 years, you make 500,000. So the idea is the more time you have, the more it compounds, you make money. You can make money with very simple investments like the S&P 500. And that's probably what's going to make you the money in the long term. Crypto, for most people, is too volatile. You make too many emotional decisions. You'll panic sell. You'll panic buy. I know I just threw out some random figures in this compound calculator. Some people will say 100,000. Why are we starting with 100,000? The other one starts with $10,000 at $500 a month. I mean, I don't know if that's very possible for many people, $500 a month. Either way, if you have a better portfolio that's a bit more risky when you're younger, you've got a 25% interest rate, $10,000, 25% a year, 500 a month you put in, you've got 379,000. Or if you just look at Bitcoin, let's say you got 10,000 initial, Bitcoin's been averaging 100% returns every year for the last 5 years, let's say, and you're putting in 500 a month. In 10 years' time, oh my God, yeah, you would have $237 million. So if you can average 100% return a year and put in 500 a month, well, in 10 years' time, you have 237 million. Anyway, the story I'm trying to tell you is just throwing some random numbers out there. If you have a core portfolio, it's safe, you're dollar cost averaging. You just have to have time in the market. You don't want to time the market. Your core portfolio is what's going to make you rich. It's not going to be your overnight bet on XRP. If you're betting on XRP, have a long-term time horizon, but please don't be panic selling and please don't be FOMOing in. Understand the risks that come with it because it's a higher risk market cap, a higher risk coin. You might make more money. You might lose more money. How you're going to lose money is leverage trading. It's going to be buying too early, having to sell at the bottom to pay some bills. And how you're going to win is to have a strategy. The final message of this video, go away, think about your portfolio. Don't let me scare you into panic selling. Don't let me scare you into panic buying. Go away, think about your own scenario. How much risk can you take on? Can you survive a bear market? What will you do in a bear market? What will you do in a bull market? What will you do tomorrow if we go into a bull market and go to $10? What will you do tomorrow if we go into a bear market and go to 50 cents? If you can answer those two questions and you're happy with both scenarios, you will survive, and I'll see you in the next bull market. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye. There's a poll running in X. You can see the pinned comment in the live chat. A poll running in X.